So, hello guys, hello everyone. So, today we are going to discuss this module D, right? Module D is all about ethics, right? So, we are starting module D, PPB, and the first chapter of module D is ethics, business ethics, and banking and integrated perspective. This is unit 51. So, let's start discussing this chapter. First of all, let's talk about what is an ethics, right? What is the difference between values and ethics? Okay, so when we are talking about basic values, see, basic values are those things which are actually the core of human being. You can say the thing which is embedded in you for a very long time, which is very important to you, the qualities which is actually within you, which is stays for a very long time, that is called as ethics. That is called as what? That is called as ethics. Okay, done everyone. So when we are talking about the, sorry, not ethics, values, when we are talking about the values, values are very few in number, first of all, and values are something which is actually embedded in you, right? So they don't need to be taught. Okay, so these are embedded in yourself. These are actually the core of you, a core of human being. These are very stable. These exist for a very long time, right? So that is called as the basic values. Okay, now when we are talking about the values, like for example, truth is a value which is embedded on you and which is actually very long lasting, which is stable. Okay, or for example, we can say honesty. Honesty is a basic value, like loyalty. Okay, you should be loyal towards other. It is the basic value which is embedded in you, which actually is stable, which actually lasts for a very long time, right? Like, for example, to love someone. Okay, now to love someone, this is nothing to be taught how to love someone, right? So, love is a feeling that is embedded on you, okay, that is stable in nature, that you know, that is very important, right? So that is called as basic values. Like peace, so this love, peace, honesty, truth, these are those basic values which are actually the core of human being. Okay, which is actually very stable, which is actually exist for a very long time, and they are very few in number. That is called as basic values. Okay, but when we are talking about the ethics, ethics are actually the guidelines and principles which are set to guide your behavior. Okay, means when we are talking about a set of moral principle, okay, that is guiding your behavior. When you are judging what is right and what is wrong depending upon these principle, then this is called as ethics. So ethics are those discipline. First of all, ethics need to be taught. Okay, you can just taught ethics. I'm teaching ethics to you, right? So ethic is something which need to be embedded in you, right? These are those guidelines, these are those set of principles which need to be guided. These are those set of principles which actually help you to make the difference between good and bad. Okay, these are actually the set of principles which guide the individual behavior. Okay, or what is acceptable in any society, that is called as ethics. So when we are talking about the ethics, like for example, environmental awareness. So environment awareness is not something which is actually embedded in you for a very long time. No, environment awareness is, it is something which need to be taught. It is set of guidelines which actually distinguish between what is right and what is wrong. Okay, for the environment, right? So that is ethics. Respect for others. Okay, your equality. You should treat everyone with equality. Equality is something you need to understand. Okay, there are set of guidelines and principles which actually tell you that how you are treating others with equality or non-equality, forgiveness, right? So these are called as ethics. right? So when we are talking about the basic values, so basic values is that is something which is actually the core, which is actually within you, right? Which is actually very small things, very stable in nature, long lasting. This is your nature. That is basic value. Whereas when we are talking about the ethics, ethics are the set of guidelines and principle that help you to choose between good or bad, that is guiding your behavior, that is actually expected from you in a society. Okay, that is actually representing a sense of rightness, right? So that set of guidelines and principle are called as ethics. Okay, now when we are talking about the business values and business ethics, so there is basic value and ethics. Now let's talk about it in business term, business value and business ethics. First of all, business value is no word, it is not a formal word even. Okay, so it is an informal term that is used. Okay, the core principles and guidelines in which the business need to be done. Okay, so business values, when we are talking about the business values, there is this is, you can say, as an informal terms, right? So you cannot actually define what is a business value. You just say that okay, the way in which a business is done. Okay, that is the business value. Like for example, the commitment. Okay, so commitment is not something which need to be treated, taught to you, right? That is embedded, so we should do our work with commitment. Okay, so commitment is a type of what? Commitment is type of business value. Commitment is a type of what? Business value, right? Informal term in which actually you have the sense that how, okay, how the business is to be done. Like commitment, we should commit towards work, right? So that is value. Or you can say passion, we should work with passion, compassionate towards other. Now these are something which don't have the guidelines and principles how to be passionate towards our work. No, there is no set of guidelines that define, okay, how should be passionate towards our work. No, passion is something which is coming from within you, right? Or honesty towards your work, or teamwork. Okay, or you can say diversity. So these are some things which are actually in you, and you know that okay, this is the way how we should be doing our business. That is called as business value. Now business ethics, that is a formal term. Establish set of guidelines and principle which is in the business environment that is expected from every stakeholder which is associated with that business. Okay, we should be coming on time on work. Now this is something which has a proper set of guidelines and behavior. Investors, employees, customers, everyone have this thing, set of guidelines that okay, this is the expected behavior in the business environment. Okay, like for example, accountability, how should we accountable towards our senior management. Okay, responsibility, the set of guidelines and principle that guides the behavior that help you to decide what is right decision for the business, what is wrong decision with the business, what is ethical for the business, what is unethical for the business, right? So you can say business ethics, it is a very proper word. It is actually a set of guidelines and principle that is defining the behavior, that the behavior which is need to be expected in a business environment, that is actually helping you to judge what is right and what is wrong. That is called as business ethics, right? So business value is an informal term, whereas business ethics is a proper term. Now, when we are talking about the difference between ethics and values, business ethics and business values, very simple thing is ethics are the set of guidelines that actually addresses the question about morality. Morality, it actually judges you. It actually your voice between judging the morality. Okay, what is moral, what is immoral? That is the question. that is actually the answer you are getting from business ethics, right? So when you are using this guideline, when you are using this sets, okay, so is actually answering you the judgment of what is moral and what is immoral, whereas value actually help you to judge what is more important to you, because it is actually your inner voice that okay, this is the way the business need to be done. So business values answer that okay, what is more important, what is less important, whereas business ethics, okay, whereas business ethics says that what is moral and what is immoral, right? So it is the moral principle system, it is actually your induced thinking, your internal thinking, okay. So it is defining what is morally correct, what is morally incorrect, okay, whereas values actually help you to decide what we want to achieve in the business environment. So that is the difference between ethics and value. So we have basic values, ethics, then we have business values, business ethics, then the difference between these two. Now, this is very, very important, you guys. Okay, this is very important. Business ethics, some myths related to business ethics and how to disperse that myth. Okay, there are some myths and how to disperse that myth. Okay, so the very first myth in the business ethic is business ethics says that it modifies people behavior. So very first myth says that business ethics modifies people behavior, but in reality, business ethics is not modifying people behavior. It is actually managing your values and help to resolve the conflict. Now, in very simple term, if I want to explain this myth and the reality, in simple term, if we say business ethic, it does not directly change how people act. Doesn't change that, but yes, it guides you on what is right and what is wrong. It help you to resolve a disagreement in a fair way. Like for example, imagine two employees at a company, right? Now one believe that honesty is best, even if you are not able to meet the sales target, but the other thing that it's okay to bend the truth to close a particular sale. Business ethics does what? There are two employees, one being honest and other being not honest to close a sale. Now, business ethics actually provide you the guideline how to make a fair decision between these two, how to make a decision based on the guidelines of honesty and fairness between these two. So it wouldn't enforce anything on the person to change their value, but it helps you to understand okay how to handle the situation. If one believes that okay, honesty is the best thing, we don't have to be a liar to close a sale, and other one says that no, we can just bend the truth to close the sale. So business ethics is not changing the other's behavior, it is not changing that, it is just giving you the sense of guidelines to judge between these two person. So if we are applying business ethic, it means that that particular honest person is doing the right thing, okay, whereas that person who is being the liar, who is actually bending the truth to close the sale, is an unethical practice. How we can decide this? This is decided by the set of guidelines and behavior. It is decided by the business ethics. Now business ethics is not forcing the other employee to change their behavior. No, it is not forcing, it just giving you the idea that okay, how to manage the values, how to help to resolve the disagreement in a fair manner, right? So that is the myth and reality. Second myth, people are inherently ethical. It is said that people are inherently ethical. Wrong. People are not born ethical. First of all, people are not inherently ethical. People are not born ethical. These are very complex dilemma that need to be challenged, that need to be taught, that need training, right? So in very simple term, if I am explaining myth 2, okay, just because someone is a good person doesn't means that he is always right. Just because that okay, I am a good person so I am always right. No, no, there are some tough situation which need to be managed with ethics, right? Sometimes the situation can be so tricky that if you don't have a proper guidance, even a well versed person, a well trained person, well meaningful person struggle to make the right decision. And here it is said that you are not born ethical. Ethicals are complex, ethics are complex dynamics which need to be taught, which need some training, because sometimes the situations are so tricky. You are seeing that okay, this is also right, this is also right. Now you need to be judged what is more right than the other, right? So that needs training. Okay, so that is called as the reality. Okay, now third myth is saying that denying business ethics in routine activity. We can deny business ethics in day-to-day activities, but no, in actual reality it cannot be denied in day-to-day activity. It is a part of your daily activities. Okay, if we trace that business are not something that comes only into play when big decisions are made. No, they influence the small decisions also. Even your choices, your day-to-day choices, your manager choices, these are depends upon business ethics. Okay, business ethics shapes the way how you interact, how you handle the task, how you actually solve the problem every day. So if you says that no, business ethics has no use in day-to-day routine activities, false. It is a myth. The right thing is this is the integral part of your daily operation. You need to use this business ethics on your day-to-day work. Fourth myth saying that business ethics is not noble. Okay, so if you are saying that business ethics is not something new or important, it's not noble, means it is not something new, it is not something important, that is false. Business ethics is not just an old concept, it is actually a crucial part of the modern business. It helps to ensure fairness, it helps to ensure responsibility, trust. Okay, so it is not just about doing what is right. It is actually protecting everyone in the business environment, from the employee to the customer to the shareholder. Everyone interest is actually protected by this business ethics. So if you are saying that business ethics is only a judgment of what is right and what is wrong, false. It is also about protecting everyone in the business environment, everyone who is involved in that business environment. Their interests need to be safeguarded by the use of this business ethics. Now, fifth myth is what? Now, if we are saying that the fifth myth, business ethics is perceived as good guy sermonizing the bad guy. Sermonizing means giving lecture, right? Sermonizing the bad guy. If you are saying that, okay, business ethics is only one thing, like a good guy just speak up and just in the stage and podium, and they have a mic and they are just giving lectures or to the bad guys that how to behave. No, that is false. That is the myth. It is not like a good guy sermonizing the bad guy. No, no, no. Reality is it is actually a collective contribution. So this is not like one is standing and everyone is listening. No, business ethics is actually a group discussion. Okay, it needs the collective contribution from each and everyone. When there are tricky situations, the group discussions need to be done to solve that tricky problems, right? So it is not like the good guy just giving lecture on how to behave to a bad guy. No, it is a collaborative effort. Okay, it is actually the collaborative effort needed to guide your ethical dilemmas. Okay, so that is the reality. Next, myth 6, ethics cannot be managed. Now, if you are saying that ethics can't be managed, no, ethics are managed. Ethics can be managed by the organization indirectly. Okay, there are trainings that has been provided, teachings has been done for managing the ethics. And the last myth is business ethics are deemed to be as the social responsibility, whereas the reality is CSR is only the one part of business ethics. So if you are saying there is a myth that business ethics is just about the social responsibility. Fulfill your social responsibility, you have done it with your business ethics. False. Whereas the reality is this corporate social responsibility thing is one only a one single point of business ethics. Business ethics is a much wide concept. It's a very wide concept, and CSR is only one of the aspect of business ethics. So if you're fulfilling this, it doesn't means you have followed the ethics completely. No, there are all the other things also in this you need to be follow. So these are the business ethics, the myths versus realities. Okay, so, what we have done, we have discussed the myth and reality. The first myth is saying that business ethics modifies people behavior. That is wrong. Business ethics doesn't modify people behavior, it just give you the guidelines to resolve the conflict. Okay. Second, you are born ethical. False, you are not born ethical. These are such a complex dilemmas that need training and teaching. Third, business ethics is denied in routine activity. False. Business ethics is not denied in your routine activities. Even if you are just signing a single document in your daily routine activity, that also required business ethics. So you cannot deny your business ethics in the routine activity, right? Myth 4 says that business ethics is not novel. False. False. Business ethics is needed to just guide the behavior of each and every stakeholder. Next, fifth myth, business ethics is perceived as the good guy sermonizing the bad guy. Completely wrong thing. It is a group discussion, collaborative effort. If you are saying business ethics can't be managed, false. Business ethics can be managed indirectly by the organization. Trainings are there, teachings are there to manage the business ethics. Seventh, and the last myth is business ethics are just a social responsibility. False. CSR is only one part of business ethics. Business ethics is a very wide, very big concept. Right? Everyone? Okay, so let's start discussing the next thing. Okay, now what are the principle of business ethics? Very simple thing. When we are talking about the principle of business ethics, first of all, the principle is fairness. First thing, the business ethics, the principle is fairness. Second is honesty. You should be straightforward, you should be truthful. Okay. Dignity, you have to treat everyone with respect. You have to treat each and everyone with respect. Openness, openness means you should be very transparent towards the customer. You should be revealing each and every truth to the customer. Reputation and goodwill, so you have to focus on the good reputation. Okay. Prudence, you have to make the decision which are based on knowledge and experience. You don't have to just make the decision in air. No. So prudence means you have to make the decision based on your experience and knowledge. concerned of for other, you should be concerned towards others. So these are the principle of business ethics: fairness, honesty, dignity, openness, goodwill, prudence, and concern for others. Clear? Now next let's talk about the philosophy of trusteeship, which has been given by Mahatma Gandhi. Philosophy of trusteeship says that Mahatma Gandhi explained this philosophy of trusteeship that whoever are the owner of the industries which are sitting in their AC offices and they're earning billions of profits. Okay, now Mahatma Gandhi explains that whatever that capitalists are earning, whatever the owners are actually earning, they are actually earning by the hard work of their workers, which are doing work in the field. So there is a Louis Vuitton owner who just is sitting and grabbing the profit of their company. That profit is actually the hard work of the workers who are doing job in the field, right? So the capitalist should be acting as a trustee. Trustee means to whom the worker can trust. So if you are earning profit, okay, you don't have to only focus in fulfilling your own pocket. No, you should be giving others also. You should have the sense of giving others also, because the workers are dependent on you. You are not only responsible for your own self, you are responsible for each and every worker which is working in that company. So if you are earning profit, you need to uplift the lifestyle of that workers also who are doing the jobs in the field. You need to give them the increment, you need to give them the recognition, you need to give them that particular trust, so that that workers should trust on you. That is called as philosophy of trusteeship. Simple says that whoever are the capitalists, whoever whatever the profit they are earning, this is the hard work of the workers who are doing job in the field. So you should be acting as a trustee. Trustee means to whom the worker can trust. So if you are earning profit, you don't have to focus only in fulfilling your own pocket. You should be giving that to others also. Okay, so that is called as philosophy of trusteeship, which has its origin in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, and it is actually telling about non-possession and selfless work. Okay, Nishkam Karma Yoga and Aprakrya. Right? So this is the philosophy of trusteeship. Now, next, let's talk about the business ethics and its practice in India. Okay, so business ethics as a concept in India evolved in actually 1980. So, business ethics, when we are talking about the business ethics, first it has been introduced in India in 1980, and when the SEBI has been formed, Securities and Exchange Board of India, in 1992, the act has been passed, and there is a clause addition 49 in 2005 in the SEBI Act, which actually promote the business ethics. Okay, now several committees has been set up in this ethics area, like the Uday Kotak Committee. So remember, if the question is asked that Uday Kotak Committee is related with which field? So Uday Kotak Committee is related with business ethics field. Okay, everyone done? Now, next thing. Let's talk about the crisis situation. Now, what is a crisis? First of all, let's talk about what is a crisis. So, crisis, it is a situation of extreme danger. It is actually a situation which result in the interruption of activity. Okay, so anything, if anything happens that result in the denial of services to the customer, that is called as a crisis situation. When you are in a crisis situation, you are not able to give any services to your customer. It actually result in the stoppage of services to your customer. Okay, that is affecting your environment. That is called as crisis. So crisis is said to be the situation of extreme difficulty or danger, right? So now there are three stages of crisis. There are three stages of crisis. If I'm giving an example of crisis, like for example, the power supply cut. Now, power supply cut is also considered as a crisis situation. Why? Because it result in the denial of activity. okay, which is given, or result in the denial of services to your customers. So we are in extreme difficult and dangerous situation, that is called as crisis. Okay. Now, when we are talking about the crisis situation, we have three stages of the crisis situation. The first stage is called as pre-crisis stage, means before any danger, before any difficulty. Now, this is the stage which is called as तूफान के आने से पहले की शांति. If you all get my point, तूफान के आने से पहले की शांति. It means that everything, you as a owner is saying that, wow, everything is going so good in your organization. You feel like everything is in your control. You feel like, wow, what a calmness. Wow, what a calmness going on in my business. Everything is my control. I'm very happy. Now, this is the situation of pre-crisis. Now, you must understand there is something going wrong which is not reached to you. Okay, or there is something going wrong which is not able to detect, okay, which you can't detect in your organization, right? So this is called as pre-crisis stage, where you think everything is your control, but it is actually not under your control. Okay. Now, in this stage, there are different policies which should be introduced by the manager for the disclosure of the wrongdoing, like the whistleblower policy. So, Whistleblower Protection Act 2001 has been passed. Whistleblower is actually the person who discloses about any of wrongdoing in the organization. Okay, so there should be reports which has been given to the whistleblower if anyone just discloses about any wrongdoing in the organization, and their identity need to be protected. Now, in this way, the manager is alerted that, okay, there is something going wrong in the organization. Everything is not under my control. So that is the pre-crisis stage. Okay. Now, second is the crisis stage, when that situation triggers. Okay. Now, for example, any cyber attack happens or any data theft happen. Okay. Now, this is called as the crisis stage, when there is something which is going wrong. For example, the Kingfisher Airlines, Vijay Mallya just ran away from the country. Now, this is the crisis situation. When the bank is alerted, okay, there is something wrong in the organization. That particular borrower, the largest borrower of that bank, run away from the country. How we are able to recover the money back from that particular person, from that particular borrower? Now, this is the situation of crisis, extreme situation, danger, right? Now, post crisis stage. Now we have to take certain measure to recover from the crisis stage, because the crisis happened, because the thing happened. Vijay Mallya just ran away from the country. Now we have to do what? Now we have to regain our reputation. Now we have to regain our goodwill. Now we have to recover from the losses of the crisis. How? So we should have a plan ready for that. So this is called as the post-crisis stage. So first, there is a pre-crisis stage where you think that everything is your control. There is nothing going wrong. That is called as the pre-crisis stage. Then there is a crisis stage when the situations happen, when the event triggered, and then there is a post-crisis stage. Post-crisis stage means now, after the crisis situation, what need to be done, how to recover from the losses, the recovery phase. That is called as the post-crisis stage. Okay. Okay, so let's start discussing the further things. Okay, now, first of all, let's talk about the need and importance of ethics in the banking. So, Is there any need of ethics in the banking? Of course, yes. Ethics has their need in every business area, even in the banking. First of all, in if we talk about the ethics in banking, it helps to solve or deal with the dilemmas. Means what is right, what is wrong, what is more right, what is less right. So ethics in the banking environment help you all bankers dealing with different type of dilemmas. It helps to safeguard the reputation and goodwill of the bank, right? And third, it helps to avoid any type of risk. Now, what are the principle of ethical banking? If we talk about ethical banking exclusively, what are the principle of ethical banking? First of all, integrity. Integrity means you should be treating each and everyone with respect. You have no intention to treat any of your business partner with a immoral way. So that is called as integrity. Second is neutrality. Neutrality means you should have a unbiased behavior towards each and everyone, towards your employees, towards your customer, towards your colleague, everyone. You should have a unbiased behavior towards anyone. That is called as neutrality. Reliability. Reliability means whatever the information you as a banker providing to your customer should be reliable. The information that should be clear, understandable, and accurate, and on which the customer can trust blindly. So reliability. And last is transparency. You know what is transparency. So these are the principle of ethical. Okay. And the last thing of this chapter is the global financial crisis. So global financial crisis has been started from USA in 2008, right? And later it has been spread to completely to all part of the world. See, it started when USA Bank just followed the unethical practices in lending in the banking activities, right? So it is said that this global financial crisis is the worst depression or worst crisis after the Great Depression of 1930, when USA Bank start just giving without the proper KYCs the lending to their customer. They follows the unethical practice. There was lack of transparency, risky lending. These were the causes for having this financial crisis. Later, it has been spread to complete world. India has been also affected badly by this global financial crisis. Clear? So this is the complete chapter, everyone. The whole important chapter, Unit 51 of PPB Module D.